Welcome back into the Queen's Coaches Show, presented by Ortho Carolina. We're here at JJ's Red Hots, and we are joined now by Grant Leonard, the head coach of the men's basketball team. Grant, how's your Wednesday? More specifically, how's the off-season going for you, if it even is an off-season?
Well, the way the calendar works right now, we don't get an off-season until May, and really about mid-May. So we've been going pretty hard. The portal starts turning as soon as the season's over, and so you kind of have visits on visits on visits.
Yeah.
But bringing in new Royals.
That's awesome, and we'll touch a little bit on transfer portal throughout. We'll talk a little bit about this last season that you guys had. The season finished. You guys made it to the ASUN quarterfinals, back-to-back years making to the quarterfinals. What does it say about your team that first 2 years in this new league, you've been able to get to that stage in the conference tournament?
Yeah, making progress. I think the biggest thing is with our core guys returning. Chris Ashby, Caleb Matthews, Bryce Cash, Jackson Pollard, Malcolm Wilson, like they're understanding, they tasted postseason, they tasted the intensity of the conference tournament, they got to win a game and feel some success, but they also got to feel a little defeat, which hopefully motivates them in the future because the margins are so small, like how close they are and where they need to get to for the next year.
Yeah, and you mentioned that first win against Florida Gulf Coast. Chris Ashby went off. I think it was 5 3-pointers in that game. You have him coming back for next year. What does his three-point ability bring to this team, and really, what type of pressure does that put on a defense?
A lot. I mean, a lot of teams, they have to face guard him, not help. They have to guard screens a certain way, and if hold on, we're going to wait for the sirens to go by.
You're a seasoned professional.
But I think, honestly, if Chris does the work that he's put in now, and he is our hardest worker, he is unbelievably focused. If he does that, I think he can lead the country in three-point field goals made. And this year he made almost 3 a game. He's right at 3 a game. I think he can get to 4 to 4.5 a game, which would mean he's going to hit 120 plus threes on the year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and Chris is laser focused on doing it. You know, extending his range, being able to shoot it from further away, faster release, getting it off on more actions. I really am excited about what Chris is going to do next year.
We're going to see a little Caitlin Clark logo 3 action from him next season.
He has the ultimate green light. I actually told him from the end of the season till the beginning of the season, there is no bad shot. I want him to shoot every shot he can. And I've never told a player that. I'm excited to see what he does with it.
It's not often you hear a coach admit that they even gave a player that type of green light. That is the ultimate green light.
Yes, and our players, the practice stopped, they're all like, what did he say? I said, Chris can't shoot a bad shot for 7 months. Shoot every shot you can, because I'm trying to get him to be more aggressive and to shoot more.
That's awesome. And going to the transfer portal, what are some guys we can talk about? We were talking a little bit of off air, but who have you brought in, and who can we talk about? Yeah, so once they sign a grant and aid or a letter of intent and it's in, we can talk about them. So we got four guys in. Yeah. A few more to come. First of all, Big Leo from Fresno State. Really excited about him. Started 68 games in the Mountain West. Had 31 points against UNLV this year. Really excited about what he can bring, the length, the versatility, defensive ability, but also ability to score really efficiently. Anytime you can get a Mountain West starter in the ASUN, it's a good deal for us. And then we have Caleb Parr coming in from Northeast Mississippi. Phenomenal scorer and shooter. Big, ton of length, ton of athleticism. Really can shoot the ball. Yoav Berman, who's going to be a freshman, he's going to be a 21-year-old freshman from Israel. Sounds nice.
Has actually scored 6 points in an NBA game. How about that? His pro team, which he plays for, played an exhibition game in Israel. Against the Brooklyn Nets, he scored 6 points. So not too many guys you can say have already played an NBA game and scored. So I'm excited about him. And then Sawyer Mayhew from UMass. Honestly, in my 20 years of coaching college basketball, I've only had about 3 or 4 players come in for a workout on their visit and the gym stopped. Everyone's like, whoa, who's that kid? We want him. And for Sawyer, he's 6'10", 240, really athletic and can really shoot it. And the gym stopped. And so I'm excited. He's young, but I'm excited to see what he does.
You kind of answered the question with the guys that you've brought in already, but in the transfer portal, what are you looking at to bring in? I guess this is a two-pronged question. From an on-the-court perspective, it sounds like it's some height, it's some bigness, it's all of that stuff. But also from a locker room perspective, how do you go about looking for new guys to bring in during this transfer portal era?
Like skills-wise, we want length, athleticism, guys that can shoot the ball, dribble, pass, and shoot, but they have to be able to stretch the floor. But then the other things we look for, intangibles, have they been on part of winning teams? So that they understand what it's like to be in a winning locker room and sacrifice for each other. and then character. Just are they good dudes? And right now, we have a ton of interest. And honestly, it's actually harder to figure out which ones we're going to say yes to.
Yeah.
But we feel really good about where our talent's going and what our roster is going to look like next year.
That's awesome. And to kind of shift gears back to the roster that you had last year, Bryce Cash, freshman.
Yeah.
He was stellar, local kid. I mean, what did he do so well? What was the key to his success as a true freshman in the ASUN, and what do you expect out of him going into a sophomore campaign?
So the hardest thing for freshmen to do is to adjust to the defensive, all of the adjustments.
Yeah.
Like the conversations, the coverages, everything. It's very complicated. It's way different than high school. And he was seamless. He's the best freshman we've ever had for that. He started at the 4. The start of the season, we progressed him to the 3 as he got more comfortable on the perimeter, and he was able to handle playing multiple positions because he's exceptionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is going forward, we're actually going to let him bring the ball down the floor and play some point guard. He's going to have the ball in his hands to make decisions with the ball. His assist to turnover ratio is phenomenal for a freshman. So I think you're going to see Bryce Cash the playmaker on offense, but then Bryce Cash maybe the best defensive player in the league on the other end of the floor, and that's what I'm really excited about. He's going to have a monster sophomore year.
I'm pumped. I'm ready for, what is it, November when the next season starts. I know you may want a little bit more time off between then, but we mentioned it, back-to-back appearances in the ASUN quarterfinals. What's it going to take to break through this next year and get to the semis, get to the finals, and put some stuff together?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to make some improvements defensively. Offensively, we've been phenomenal, but the biggest thing, and honestly, the biggest jump I've seen all offseason is from Malcolm Wilson. So Big Malcolm has been way more engaged, understanding what his job is, and he's taken off. And he can anchor our defense. His length and ability to block shots, protect the rim is phenomenal. But a lot of his playing time is how functional he'll be offensively. And he's done an unbelievable job building his skill level, getting confidence, adding strength. And so Malcolm, I think, is going to be the biggest deal for us. We have to get better defensively, and Malcolm's will be a big part of that.
He's 7'1"?
7 foot.
Sorry, I don't want to. I won't give him too much there, but you don't see a lot of 7-footers in the ASUN.
No.
What type of? I mean, what does that add to your defense, and how can ASUN? I guess you don't want to give away the secrets of how can an ASUN offense attack a 7-footer, but like, what does that? That's just such a different look than what ASUN teams are seeing.
It's not even that he's just 7 foot, it's how mobile and fast he is and how quick off the floor he gets. I actually saw him this year block a shot with his right hand and then a half second later block a different player's shot with his left hand. Just the skill to do that is it's really unheard of in our league. What it's going to allow is our guards and our other players to feel comfortable pressuring the ball, knowing if they get beat, Malcolm should be there.
Cleaner upper.
Someone to protect the rim and take care of a mistake, but they can be more aggressive on the ball and disrupt the offense more. And so as a whole, it should be a lot better for us.
And final question, I know we can't talk about anyone that hasn't signed yet, but what are you looking for to fill these final holes in? What type of player are you looking for?
Yeah, I think we'll probably have a scoring point guard or two coming up our sleeve, and then maybe another shooter or big man. And you just never know what these next weeks will bring.
That's awesome. Appreciate it. Have fun these final next couple of weeks, and hopefully enjoy your mid-May off season once it comes.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's been a great season on it. Thank you to JJ's Red Hots. Phenomenal place. My dad's favorite place when he lived here. So if you guys want a great glizzy and a great meal, come on in to JJ's.
Appreciate it, Coach. We'll be right back with more Queens Coaches Show presented by Ortho Carolina.
For the first time in program history, the Queens Royals play host to the Lewis Flyers. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, joined by JP Payne, and welcome in to Curry Arena on the campus of Queens University of Charlotte for some Thursday night MIVA action. Royals come in winners of their last 3, all non-conference contests, and they'll look to keep the momentum rolling against the 14th ranked Lewis Flyers. Lewis comes in winners of their last match, a conference showdown against Quincy. Flyers are 3-3 in the month of March. We'll turn our attention to some pre-game injury news. JP, we got a word that the Royals will be without Jack Briegman, the team's leader in kills, digs, and aces with an ankle injury. What do the Royals have to do to replace that high-end production?
You gotta bring the energy from the start, because the second you think that you're missing a player and there's a gap, you you let that energy kind of fall, you let that energy get loose and low, that's where you start to falter, because Brink's such an emotional player. Whether it's the highs or the lows, he is a big piece of the team. And once you take that away, you've got to see who can come in off of the bench and bring that spark, or just be that consistent volume player to come in and either not make errors, just don't stick out for a bad reason when you're coming in off the bench. But not only is it Jack Brinkman that's out, you're looking down at the depth chart. Traditionally, if you'd see Jack Brinkman come out, you'd see Ruben come in, but he's likely out for the season with a stress fracture. So you've got a lot of depth on the Queens team that will probably start seeing a little more court time than they haven't seen in the past. So it'll be up to those guys to see how they produce and how they really put in the time and effort, and see how that comes to fruition this week.
Yeah, an injury on the other side for the Lewis Flyers. They'll be without Christian Prayer, the redshirt senior from St. Louis, Missouri tonight. He has 33 aces, most on the team, 8th most in the nation, so a serving threat that won't be on the court tonight for the Lewis Flyers. Getting the start in place of Brinkman, it appears to be Matteo Faleri for the Royals. Played into the middle, sent down hard. Champagne somehow keeps it alive. Opportunity again for Barton. Blocked down. Brinkman and Chewy combined.
He's very capable of doing that. I've seen it happen plenty of times before. Good swipe right here, too. Great set.
Set to the crotch, and Champagne gets it down. I don't know what was better, Champagne on that play or Albert Vazoja with the set. Matthew Staskunis flicks it up, serve comes across, gets a friendly roll. Sterling Sims, what a play by Puentes. Doesn't matter, point for Queens. Puentes. Leitao over to Pilch, blocked. 23-22, Belmont advantage. Royals will send out Nathan Valpel, Daniel Leitao, Champagne, McDonald, Brinkman, and Pilch. Try and get a little run going. Chance Champagne sends it down. A 24-23 third set advantage for the Royals. The freshman Chance Champagne serves it. Blocked down, Valpel rejects it, and the Royals pick up a massive third set win, 25-23. I don't think these two teams know how to play a set that isn't 25-23.
No, and I think that's fun, right? I think that means we're on pace for another 25-23 and maybe a 15-13. Don't want to say, look, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, because knowing me, I'll jinx it. But it's been a fun game to watch so far, and hopefully Queens can get one more and kind of tie this thing up at 2 apiece.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. We'll step aside and be back with the fourth set of action. The Royals finish out the third set on a 3-0 scoring run and take it 25-23. With the Royals in the midst of a little bit of a losing streak, help them reset and get ready for this final stretch.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Price says it every time we have a spring break or we've got a week off or anything like that. He's like, it always comes at the right time. Whether you need it or not, it's always in the right window. I mean, you're coming off a couple game losing streak. Spring break hits you just kind of right in the sweet spot. I think it's around this 50-60% mark of the season. And you come back to a team like Barton. And that's not to discredit Barton at all, but you go from playing up in Muncie, you go from playing all the MIVA area schools to having a week off, being able to reset, and then come back to a game with a familiar opponent like Barton that you've got notes on, that you've played before, and you understand how they operate in your home gym. So being able to have that week off and reset is great. Coach Price doesn't ever have them play over that spring break for that exact reason. You get to go home, you can completely turn off your brain and just kind of restart, whether you go to the beach, hang out for the week, whether you go home to your family, or even just stay in the Charlotte area. So I think it comes at the perfect time, and I think Queens will really start to find their stride after this, but we just got to make sure that they don't have any type of lull this game right here. They got to come out of the gate hot.
Yeah, you mentioned it. It's been a tough stretch. They were Last time they were here at home, they took on Ohio State, number 7 in the country at the time. Then after that, went on the road to Muncie, Indiana, number 11, Ball State. And that's not to discredit Purdue Fort Wayne. When they came here, they were ranked in the top 20. You had Quincy, McKendree. I mean, the slate they've had in the Midwestern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association this year has been tough.
Oh yeah, and the MIVA it's just getting better. I mean, they're not getting any worse whatsoever. I mean, you've seen just the consistency that they have from top to bottom of the roster. Excuse me, not the roster, but the conference. And you've got the Ohio States, the Ball States, the Lewis, Loyola. Like, you have those Tier 1 programs, the Tier 1 teams that Queens is going to start seeing every week, if not every other week, going into the second half of the season.
Brinkman serves that away and gets the aces. That ball came right over our heads, showing why we're on, well, at least for myself, on this side of the table. Could not get there in time.
Here to keep you safe.
Brinkman this season, that was his 29th ace on the year, leads the team. All-time leader in career aces for the Royals as well.
Oh yeah, and it's a guy that's gotten really comfortable with his serve. I mean, I wasn't here for the game, but I definitely watched that last bit of the Fort Wayne game, and it was, in lack of better terms, electric. I mean, it was a great game. They played really well, and they capped it off with 2 Jack Brinkman aces in a row. I mean, the kid, once he's hot and he's confident, it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net, if it's a top 5, top 10, top 15 school, or even just Barton. Again, I say just Barton, but even Barton, he's going to put it all out there.
Yeah, Barton, a team coming off of a few down years, but they brought in JT Deppy. He's in his second year, was a King grad in 2021, and has started to turn around the Barton Bulldogs as they come into today's match. 9-7, 4-4 in Conference Carolinas, but starting to really find some things. They have a couple key guys to keep an eye on today. Thomas Fanek, Brandon Johnson, Benjamin Wiekert, some Conference Carolina preseason players to watch. As Johnston, the senior from New Zealand, trying to keep this 3-0 scoring run going.
And if you look at the Conference Carolinas as well, they're having a lot of coaching transitions from coaches that have been tenured there for a long time to coaches that are just kind of starting their careers. And you look at JT, it's somebody that I played against. I turned 25 last week.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the broadcast. Yeah. This is a guy that you were on the other side of the net with a very short time ago. Now he's on that side of the gym. You're on this side of the gym.
Right. And I mean, I turned 25 last week, so he can't be much younger than me or much older than me. And you're so used to seeing the Conference Carolinas coaches that have tenure that were like the Lees McCrays, the Bartons, the Kings, and now they're all starting to kind of transition out of those coaching phases and either get player coaches that have played in the area or just kind of clean house, start over, and then just completely reset. I mean, if you look at Barton a couple years ago, when I was playing against Barton my freshman, sophomore, junior year, they had All-Americans on their team. They had more than one. They had an All-American, I think second-team All-American, and then All-American honorable mentions on their team. And they were winning the Conference Carolinas handedly, going into that tournament and beating teams like Princeton and things like that. And it's impressive to see.
The freshman Chance Champagne's back to serve. His second serve goes out that back line. Chance Champagne has done a very good job stepping up in the absence of Matthew Pilch these last few games.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's played a complete game all the way around. You saw his first ball that he had. He kind of tried to throw it off and just make a smart play. Set wasn't necessarily there, but he plays a very smart and complete game, and I think you see that. I mean, it just kind of runs in his family. His brother played at Penn State. Chance is playing here at the Division I level, and you grow up with somebody that's older than you. You kind of want to be better than them no matter what. You want to figure out ways to beat them, and Chance coming in here playing as a freshman, that's a brag that he'll be able to have against his brother for a long time.
Matt Mongan sends it up across the court. Albert Vazoha gets it down for the kill.
Great set from Mongan. Great swing from Albert. Good way to make it work all the way around. You've seen Barton, they're really good at keeping the teams under 200, meaning their hitting percentages as a whole. Barton doesn't necessarily get kills all the time. They did right there, but their bread and butter isn't their offense. and it's, I don't want to say it's their defense either, but it's that kind of that consistent measure of keeping teams under the 200 hitting percentage.
This season, they're holding opponents to a 191 hit percentage, which is 4th best in the nation, as that was a powerful, powerful kill.
And I mean, it was a great kill, but the set was even more impressive, to be completely honest. I've played with Mongan. I grew up around the same area. Him and my brother actually went to the same high school and played together, and it's been really cool to see him develop. That's not a set that he would have made 2-3 years ago. So I don't know if it's Coach Price or if it was him playing over at St. Francis Brooklyn before, but just seeing Mongan develop over these last couple of years and how dynamic he's been has been really cool to see, just kind of from a personal level, and then just from being a fan and now alumni of the Queens volleyball program. Great set, even better kill from Reed.
He had 23 assists against Ohio State. It was his his season high. Brinkman continuing to do what he does best, his 4th kill on the night.
And you're going to see those high balls a little more often now, just at this level particularly. Daniel can kind of run it fast off the net because he's had that chemistry with Brink for the last couple of years, and they've found out what works and what doesn't. But with Mongan coming in and being that new face, he just got here in January, so he hasn't had a whole lot of time under his belt with these guys. So you'll see him kind of put those high balls up to the antenna and get it tight so Brink can hit it off the hands. And you see that a lot at the Division I level, just kind of across the board. Hawaii's really big on it. They'll put it really high and really tight, and they'll just beat you on athleticism.
Weikert serve comes across. Nice little tab from Vazoha. He gets another kill. He's 2nd on the team with 2.
And you're going to see the back row, Barton beating each other up right there, because as soon as he hit the ground, the middle thought he could pop it up and give him a second chance, but the back row is sitting right behind it and probably would have had it if he didn't touch it.
Reed Shuey, the sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona, serves it away. Mongan able to keep that one alive. And played down thanks to a great dig from Jake Adams there. Kept that point going for Barton, and they paid it off with a big-time kill to tie it up at 9.
Jake, another Florida guy, too. I mean, you see it a lot in this kind of area. The Conference Carolinas, the Southeast. You see a lot of Florida guys kind of come up through the pipeline, and it's cool to see, especially growing up in that area. You see guys that you grew up with, guys that you played against come up to this level. So I know there's a couple guys. I know him and Brian Camacho are really close, so you'll see them after the game get together and say hello.
Brinkman back to serve. A powerful serve, and he picks up his 2nd ace of the night.
I don't even know if I should be excited or just I kind of expect it out of him at this point. I mean, he's been playing great. Once you get him kind of going in the first couple balls, I mean, there's bound to be another one right behind it. So he's got to stay consistent, and he does, which is a good thing.
You've talked about a Brinkman, kind of that high energy type of guy. I don't think I've seen Brinkman have as much energy pregame as I did today.
So you don't see what goes on in the locker room before the games a lot of the time. I've seen him too excited for his own good before, but today he's really channeled it the right way. Sometimes you'll get too excited, you'll run out of energy before the game even starts, and Coach Price is a big preacher on that, because I think the first time that Hawaii came into the gym, we were over the moon excited and probably a little too excited. And before warm-ups were even done, I think half of us were out of breath and out of gas. But Brink's done a really good job at balancing just his energy and consistent level of play. So great ace from Chance, another one to follow it up after Brink.
Yeah, Champagne gets the kill, goes back behind the service line, gets an ace, and Royals take a 13-10 lead, forcing JT Debbie to call the first timeout of the match. And a little bit of a back and forth, but it seems like at this point right now, the Royals starting to kind of take control and claim some of that momentum, starting to build that lead a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just slowly piecing things together. It's about making the mini runs. So you'll get 2 points in a row, you let them get one. You're still winning that battle of one up. You're still one up. So as long as you can't as long as you don't let Barton kind of do the same thing the other way around, you can build that lead, even if it's 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 2-1 for Queens every once in a while. That's always a good thing to be proud of. But if it gets to the point to where you're on the other side of that, where you're 3-1, 3-2, 2-1, and they're kind of growing, that's when you need to kind of slow down, reset, and then get back to it.
So at this first timeout for Barton, Brinkman leads all players with 4 kills on 7 total attacks. Vazoha with 2, Chance Champagne with 1. Brandon Johnston leads Barton with 2 kills on 2 attempts. Ben Wiekert, Luke Deppy, and Jake Adams all have a kill apiece as well.
You haven't really seen Barton go towards their middles yet. I don't know if that's because of the passing or if it's just a consistency thing. But Barton's kind of strayed to their pins a little bit. Let's see if they can't get him involved right now, but Champagne coming off of an ace. I don't know if they're going to have the opportunity to get him even involved yet.
Champagne serve comes across, and another ace for the freshman. Came into today's match with 9 aces on the season, tack on 2 more.
And before this game, Queens is up to 90 aces for the season, and he's got 11 of them right now. I mean, he's a significant dent in that between him and Brink. I mean, you got a lot of guys that are carrying the weight with the service aces here. Almost picked up a third one.
Saved extremely well by Seth Deppy, but still ends up going the Royals' way, a Jack Brinkman kill. Champagne helping orchestrate this 4-0 scoring run. He sees if he keeps that hot hand behind the service line.
Great block setup. Good push from Mongan, too.
Trying to go through the middle, just what you were talking about.
A little low on that first set from Barton, so he had to tip it over, but Queens trying to respond, do the same thing back to him because they have established that middle early, and they've proved that even if they are off the net a little bit, they can get the middle involved. So you'll see him kind of pinch with them, and then you'll run what we call a stack on top of it with the back row outside. So tried it right there, just didn't work exactly right, but they'll just go to Brink, it'll be fine.
Brinkman picks up his 6th kill on the night. He averages just about 3 kills per set, doubled that already here in the first.
I mean, it's a good thing to see coming off of spring break, coming off of teams that you're playing at a very high level with, and if you're holding that 3 kill set average against those high-level MIVA schools, you come down to Conference Carolinas play, IVA play, and you kind of expect an uptick in play, and Brink's showing that right now. We're a little over halfway in the first set, and he's got 6 kills.
Shuey tries to send it down, kept alive well by Barton. Brinkman gets the dig.
And that's something that Barton really takes pride in, is their defense and their ability to get that first, second ball up. I mean, I think they're top 5 in the country in digs per set, 9.7 digs per set. So that puts them at around 3rd in the country in digs per set, and that's not Division II, that's not Division I, that's the collective of both Division I and Division II. So seeing that out of a small school, I think a lot of that comes from the coaching staff. JT, when he played at King, had a big emphasis on their defense as a collective. So, I mean, you see a little bit of that transition over to Barton.
I mean, this is a Barton team. They rank top 3 in blocks per set, averaging just about 2.6. You said top 3 in digs. They're top 5 in opponent hit percentage and number 2 in the country in team attacks.
I think, honestly, the turning point for them is their passing. You get consistent passing, and then you get the opportunity to involve those middles and just have a fluid offense for Barton. That changes a lot of things because you see how much they do right, but they're 9-7, so they're not playing poorly. But what can be the difference maker to make them 2 or 3 more games into the green? And I think a lot of that has to do with kind of just their consistency as an offense.
Albert Vazoha, the junior from Poland, back to serve, gets it away. Serve's putting a lot of pressure on Barton right now.
They're serving aggressively because they know what they're capable of. I think Queens is having a lot of success here because our jump serves are very aggressive. You saw Alberts, as soon as he gets to the net, it breaks and drops basically as soon as he gets over the tape. But Barton's gym, they're 5-1 in float serves to jump serves. So a lot of what they see in their gym are float serves. And then you get into these other gyms where the majority of our play is jump serves. They kind of have a little bit of a different approach.
Brinkman just taps it over, dug out well by Ermer. Mongan able to keep it alive.
Great day for Mongan.
Mongan sets it across for Champagne, blocked at the net. Try one more time for the freshman.
Really good communication out of Queens, too. You see that there aren't any real breaks in the play. As soon as the setter takes that first ball, or if the back row takes the first ball and they're a little scrambled, they know exactly who gets the next one. They're ready to go. They're ready to roll. There's not a, hey, you got to go grab that, or a panic. When the ball's up in the air, you look down at somebody and see, all right, who's going to get that? They're smooth. They're in rhythm. And you can say the same thing for Barton. They didn't look like they had any glitches or bumps in the road.
Ben Wiekert, the junior from Suffolk, Virginia, serves it away. Mongan pushes it across court. Champagne, though, gets blocked at the net. The combination of Thomas Fanek and Seth Deppy make this a 19-16 game.
So, sometimes you want to make the smarter set on that one. It wasn't a bad set. A little tight, a little low, but his ability to get it out there was impressive enough. But sometimes it just makes a little more sense to involve the hot hand. I mean, Brink's right there, and he's shown that he can get 5 or 6 in a set already. So just putting it high in front of him might have been the easier play there, but you know, you live and you learn. You see what works and you see what doesn't in the first set.
So Jackson Maples here will come on, the serving specialist for the Royals. They hold a 20-16 advantage in the first set. Maples this year 7 aces. That one gets across in a hurry. Blocked well. Brinkman with the solo block. First block of the match for the Royals.
I mean, I don't want to say that I'm surprised at that. It doesn't feel like the first block of the match. They've had a lot of good touches. A couple of those just kind of getting the lower half of their forearms, maybe being a little too high on the block. But Barton isn't really giving them the opportunity to block balls. I mean, just like that, that's not necessarily a ball that you're like, oh, I'm going to go up and I'm going to put this one right back down at him. It's, you saw the outside already bail, the middle was up. That's one of those balls where you feel like you can kind of take a step, you can stay in rhythm, and you're good. Sometimes it just gets in between those seams and gets the best of you, but Queens feels like they have more blocks than one right now.
Seth Deppy's serve comes across, and Mongan will set it through the middle to Shafar Grant. He can't get a great hit on it, sends it just right into the net, and makes it 21-18. Royals with the advantage, but Barton's starting to claw back just a little bit.
You can't let them get that. You got to get this is where you got to start building those multi-point runs, even if it's 2.
Deppy's serve comes across. Mongan goes through the middle again. Far side to Adams.
I think Shafar wants a little more speed on that one. I mean, we've seen his success in the last couple balls with Shuey and Shafar. They like to run it quick. They like to run it faster. Once you get a little bit of height on it, it gives you more room for error. So if you can beat him with speed on that perfect pass, you'll be in good shape. It was a great pass from Albert. Just couldn't get that last little bit of connection.
3-0 scoring run for Barton. Seth Deppy continues to serve. And net violation called, as that will halt the run for the time being. And Barton, though, at the net, they are active. They have 6 blocks as a team already, and they are showing why they're 3rd in the nation in blocks per set.
And even if they're not getting those blocks, they're getting really good quality touches where you have the opportunity to kind of recycle, make them swing twice, make them swing smarter. So you'll see Queens start to think twice about where they're swinging, how they're swinging, and just who's in front of him.
Brinkman back to serve again. Like he almost picked up his 4th ace, but instead Barton sends it down.
Yeah, that was a great out-of-system swing. You see guys kind of start to bail. You see the second ball on a platform kind of high in the middle of the court. So you see the guys take a step back, get ready for the free ball to come over, and Barton's like, we're not putting over any free balls today. We're swinging.
Brinkman, I mean, he's in his zone. 8 kills on 13 total attacks.
He's getting close to half the points to set himself.
So Chance Champagne will head back to serve. Royals lead 24-20 in the first set. Sent down well. Luke Deppy, the freshman, gets his 4th kill to lead all Bulldogs.
Let's see if Queens can get a good pass, stay in system, stay in rhythm, get hopefully the ball to Shafar, or even I'd like to see Mongan try and dump it if he can.
Right on cue. Mongan dumps it. That was pretty impressive.
Watched him play for a little bit.
So the Royals will take the first set 25-21. The two sides will swap. We'll step aside and be back with the second set of action here on the Queens Sports Network. We want to let you guys know if you weren't able to attend tonight's game, be sure to join us next time. All tickets for Queens home games in men's volleyball and men's and women's lacrosse can be purchased at queensathletics.com/tickets. Contact Royals Tickets at queens.edu to learn more about group discounts and planning events.